Hedgehog Hollow's new catalogue launch. Today I'm also going to tag this video as a ToolTurial. So we're going to be working with the Irresistibly Floral DSP, which is on page 172. And it comes in 6 different designs. And they're 12 by 12 sheets and they are embossed. So you can see here, just catch that with the camera, like a clear embossing powder is probably a good way to describe them. And there are lots of different things you can do with them to add colour if you want to. Sometimes they're just a nice background if you're doing a wedding card or something where you just want that, that white background with a little bit of shimmer. But I've got 6 ideas for you to be able to colour them. So the first one, you can see I've been working, you've got my droplets in the corner. So the first one I'm going to work with is the mister. Now I filled this mister probably about 3/4 full with just water out the tap, and then I added 4 droplets of an old olive re-inker, and we're going to spritz it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay some paper towel down so I try not to make too much of a mess. I'm going to have some ready for after. And then depending on how dark or light you want yours to be, you could add maybe 1 drop if you wanted a very light green, or you could add some more if you wanted the darker green. And what we're going to do is we're just going to spritz over. There we go. And you can see that it doesn't really stick to those embossed parts. And then I'm just going to lay some more paper towel over the top and pat it off. And you can see I've got a really light green in there. So if I bring that right out to the camera, you can see I've got a nice light green. And you can keep working with this. So I'm going to add some more. Now, if another effect you can get, if I just grab my heat tool, which is just to the side, you can use that too. I'm just going to turn on the heat tool. So apologies if you can't hear me quite as well as you normally can. If you keep going, I'll do this corner over here. The heat tool will give you these lovely watercolour marks. You can see some just appearing here, which you won't get if you use the paper towel. We're nearly there. Okay, so you can see, if I lift that up, all the lovely little watermark puddles you've got, and you've got more of a batik effect. And you can just pat off any excess with your paper towel, and then you're ready to use that piece. So that's one idea. And what I'll do is I will post in a blog post, which will be linked under the video, some pictures of all these different outcomes. So you can see that this half I've just dried with the paper towel, and then this half I have used the heat tool on. So I'm just going to write on the back what they are. So this is just a spritz, half towel, half heat. Okay, so I'm going to put that onto the side. I'm going to get, well, actually that paper towel is pretty good because we dried it off. So now I'm going to grab another piece. And the next thing you can do is you can just take your stamp pad, like this, and you can go all over it. And you can keep going to get as dark or a light effect. You can see here, if I keep going, it gets darker and darker. And then we take our paper towel and we rub off, and you've got that brilliant white resist that comes out for you as well. So if you just want one really solid colour, that's a really great way of doing it. And what you can do, if you like the idea, if I do that, of having this slightly lighter colour, you could either use an archival pad or you can heat dry it. And it does take a little bit of time, and you have to keep building up the layers. But if you keep doing that, you can see that if I bring this closer up for you, that the colour will stay on the white areas. So you can either have it plain white like this, or you can have it heat dried. So this one we've done direct pad, half heat, half towel. This just gives me an idea when I'm doing the videos to remember which technique I used on which piece. So I'm just going to clear that piece away. Now the next one is using your markers. So what you can do, if you just love the designs, is you can colour in. So here we've got some leaves. And you don't need to be overly precise, because as we know, we can pick up colours afterwards. So I'm just going to colour in a few here. And I'm going to pick some little flowers. Oh, wrong end. And you can see I'm just colouring these flowers in. And like so. And on any areas you've missed, just grab some paper towel and you can very carefully just pick up anything you've missed. So you can do that. So that's another technique. And if I colour in a few more for you, you can just see. So then that way you could create custom coloured flowers depending on what you want to stamp with. So again, I'm just colouring all the way around. And you could do it really in depth, so you could do more of a Copic type technique where you layer all the colours, or you could do it like this, very solid, depending what effect you wanted to do. And we'll just add a few more leaves in. And these I'm using the Flirty Flamingo and the Emerald Envy from the new In Colours. Little green flower. There we go. So you can see now, I'll just take off those areas of green. And actually what you can do is you can then just blend your colours out like that as well. So you just have a nice haze around them. So that's another technique you can do. So we'll just call that pens. And put those to the side. And then we have for you a dauber, which you can do in exactly the same way. So here I've got my Flirty Flamingo and my Peekaboo Peach. And I'm going to start with my Flirty Flamingo. And I'm going to daub it into this flower. And then I'm going to daub a bit over here. And then I'm going to pick up some Flirty Flamingo and I'm going to make a nice pink flower. And you could even do ombres, so you could do some nice stripes across with different colours. Go back to this. Do one there. Just grab a couple more colours from behind me. So I'm going to grab a Wild Wasabi. We'll have we'll have some Rich Raspberry. We'll go for some really punchy colours. So this is my Rich Raspberry. So I'm going to do a little purple one there. And I'm going to have a purple one in here. We have some purple leaves. And we'll go for a purple flower on the edge here. Let's get rid of some of that. I mean, you can use different daubers. I just, or sometimes I have a little pad of water next to me. If you use the water, you'd have more watercolour effect flowers. You could do that with a wet dauber. That would work as well. I don't know if I've got any. I've got some water here. Let me just, I've got a spritzer with just water. I think this is spray it on the edge here. And this is actually my old olive the spritz we used earlier. So I've just spritzed it onto my dauber, and then I'm going to do some nice daubed leaves. So I'm going to have a nice wet effect, and then I'm going to pick up some wild wasabi. We're going to go in and we're going to do it darker. And you can just see where it's wet, it's just adding a bit more of a watercolour than the solid areas. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to add some more Peekaboo Peach in. And I know there's a few of you who really don't like the Peekaboo Peach colour, but I have to say it's one of my favourites. And you can just keep building up your colours. As I say, you could do the ombres, you could just do it in stripes and not have to, not concentrate on the fact there's flowers there, because some of the patterns are more geometric. You could do all sorts of things. So this is just the technique. And you can play with your colour placement. Okay, so that's my colours. And then you just go back and you can remove that, just so you've got your white places back. And now let me just, I'm just going to grab, just looking in here, what I've got to hand. I'm just going to grab a spritzer full of water and I'm going to show you something. So I just grabbed a spritzer here full of water. I'm just going to move my ink pad out of the way. I'm going to pop a little bit of kitchen towel down. And what you can then do is you can spritz these. And what this does, this will soften your daubers in between. And you can either then just take your kitchen towel and you can dab it down, or you can take your heat tool and we can put those lovely watermark effects back in again. And there you go. So you've got now a completely different effect again, which you can see. So I'm just going to write on the back. So we've daubed and then added water. There we go. And what I would do when I take the pictures, I'll daub up another piece for you so you can just see the plain daubing as well. And the next one I'm going to show you is sponging. Actually, I'll just leave this sponge one done because you can do exactly the same with sponging as I've shown you with the daubers. So I will leave this one, but you can spritz it afterwards if you wanted to, and you would get exactly the same effect. And we'll add some nice peach in. So you can sponge in the same, and this gives you more of a rustic look. I'm going to grab some sweet sugar plum. And again, you could do ombres, or you could do a rainbow stripe. It's all sorts of things. And you can do circular actions to get a more blended effect like this. So you can see. Or you can do the dabbing, which is more of a altered or vintage look to it. And we'll finally add this corner with some Peekaboo Peach. So if you see, if I just splatter, I get those effects like that. or I can do a nice circular or stripy motion, and I can get a far more blended effect. So there's some different ideas for you. And again, I'm just going to take a plain piece of paper towel, and I'm just going to buff up the white. Okay. And so that's your sponges. So I'll leave that one plain, but as I say, you can do exactly the same. You could spritz it and you'll get some lovely effects with that. If you do spritz it, the other thing you can do is throw on some salt. So let me see if I've got, let's do it with this sprayed piece. So we're going to be using the sponge sprayer, and I'm going to use, I think I'll go for some sweet, actually no, I'm going to go pink. I'm going to go for some Flirty Flamingo. Now you're going to ink this up the same way you would any other brayer. So just roll along, lift, and you want to add as much as you feel you need to get the colour intensity you want. So we'll start there, and you can see, you can just keep building it up if you want to. And again, you could do different colour stripes, or you could just stick with the same. Turn that around. And you can see if I do it here, if I keep building up the colour, it just gets darker and darker and darker. So that's one idea. Now the other idea I've got for you is we need our spritzer. I'll just put this down so our work surface doesn't get too wet. I'm actually going to make this pretty wet, so you might be able to see this. You can see puddles. That's a good way to describe it. If I lift it up, you can see that's pretty wet and what I would call puddly. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw on, this is just rock salt from my kitchen, and you want to leave that there 10, 15, maybe 20 seconds, and just while that salt is working away, it's just worth mentioning to you, you can wash these sprayers out so that you can use them again and again, and you do get some refills in the pack as well, but they will go slightly yellow over time, and that's just the sponge compound, so don't worry about those, but it's just worth mentioning to you if it happens. I'm just going to put this out of the way. So I've left this now probably for about 30 seconds, and what you want to do is just tip this up and just gently take off all of your salt. There's a few places I've missed, so I'm just going to sprinkle a bit back on. Okay, so while that's working, you can start with your heat tool. I'm just going to grab that here. I'm just going to heat it all over. And the heat tool will help with the salt rather will help with the heat process, because it will help absorb some of the liquid, the water. Okay, so that's pretty dry. And now I'm just going to brush off the final pieces of salt. And you can keep repeating this process to get however much intensity you'd like. Normally I'd have a stiff paintbrush to hand, but this is a bit of an impromptu technique. And you will see, if I bring it up close to the camera, these beautiful little mottled areas where the salt has caused that. So you can keep doing that to get it as intense as you'd like. And I'm just going to throw this away from there. So I'm just going to grab all of my different pieces that we've used. And there is, well, there's more than 6 different techniques for you. But there's some different ways you can colour your Irresistibly Yours paper. And I hope you've enjoyed our ToolTurial today, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Happy stamping! Bye!